What is up, everybody? Ace here, and I am back with an update video already. We've only been 10 days into March, and there's already been a lot of stuff to talk about. Some stuff that's good, some stuff that's bad. It's been a very up and down 10 days, and yeah, March has not been kind. But I'm going to go through everything in order, more or less, and yeah, talk about the plans now that they've really changed. So, first off, tax return money arrived, and the very first thing I did was pay off my most offensive loan, the one that was charging me every 2 weeks. So that has been paid off. I've also gotten some work done on my car, 2 new tires. I was gonna have them get do an oil change as well, but they didn't. Probably because there was still oil in it. I don't know. It said refused oil change. It said low oil. So I don't know why they didn't do it, but it's something I'll sort out later, I guess. But they also fixed my brake situation because I had my brake light on. Turns out that I just needed brake fluid, so we're good there. But I've done a lot of other stuff with my tax return money. I made some payments to my credit cards, and I booked another vacation where I'm going to fly to Vegas and Colorado in the same vacation. Maybe, and I'll get to that in a minute. I've booked the flights and everything, so the maybe doesn't help me at all. So, I've also bought a GoPro, which is probably the footage that you're seeing right now, is me testing it out. It's a GoPro 5, which is one of the two that I sold a while ago to try to get some money going. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the good stuff that has happened. But a lot of bad stuff has come through as well, and I'm going to list them off as such. So, I think I may have mentioned this in the February update. If not, I'm at least going to mention it, or maybe even re-mention it, depending on if I talked about it already. But my grandmother passed away. I think it was at the end of February or the beginning of March. It was kind of, we knew it was coming, but it's still a tough blow. I'm glad that I moved to, when I was living in Massachusetts, I was able to spend some time with her a few years ago, so I think that all worked out just fine. So, but I think my dad's taken it pretty hard, and unfortunately that's caused a bit of an issue between us, which was an issue that was starting before my grandmother passed away, and it's kind of gotten worse. Basically what has happened is I had a bank account. My very first bank account was a joint account with my dad, who also has a joint account with my brother, which is important to to the whole thing. I was bad with my money. I didn't know how to budget, and so eventually that account got closed because it was because I owed too much money on it. Fast forward to this past December, my dad tried to take out an auto loan, but he couldn't because his name was still on that account. So he sent me some paperwork to get the name off of the account, and I filled it out, but I didn't sign my name legibly, and apparently I had to get it notarized. So I asked to have them send me some fresh paperwork to work with, but that's when my grandmother passed away, and that never happened. Fast forward a little bit, about a week, I think, and I get a message from both my brother and my dad that basically said that the bank had taken money out of my brother's account to pay for my account, which I'm pretty sure they shouldn't be doing. They were saying that they were going to do the same to my dad, which makes a little bit more sense because he's the one that is joined with me on that account, not my brother. But either way, he ended up paying off the entire debt, which now means that I owe him, and because he's mad at since he's mad at the entire situation, he wants me to pay him back with every paycheck until it's paid off. And he was mad that I didn't thank him for it, which the reason why I haven't thanked him for it is because up until this point, the bank had done nothing with the account and seemed like they had completely forgotten about it. That's usually how it goes with a lot of debts. If you don't mention it, it doesn't go away, but it's you kind of buying time, at least. So that's what I was doing, and my intention was to pay off debts that actually made an impact. Like, if I were to pay off this bank, it would just get them off my back. But if I were to pay off my credit cards, for example, it would raise my credit and things like that. Yeah, so I was intending to pay that off further down the line, but when my dad applied for the auto loan, it pretty much led them to remember that it existed, and then the whole situation happened, and then when he paid it off, pretty much all it did was make it kept my brother and my dad out of trouble, which is good for my brother because he shouldn't be a part of it, and my dad shouldn't have to pay any money for it either. But whether I'm paying to the bank or to my dad, I still owe the entire amount. So he didn't really help me at all. If anything, he made it a little bit worse for me because now I'm forced to pay for it instead of kind of waiting until I'm actually able to. So kind of made the situation a little bit worse, and that was our argument, and I haven't heard from him since. So I had plans to send him a little bit of money. I told him I would send what I can when I can, but a new situation has popped up, and that is that the homeowners, my roommates, the people who own the place that I'm staying in, are apparently moving. I have learned about this today. They've filed for bankruptcy, and we're going to let their cars be repossessed to, I guess, have enough money to pay off the bankruptcy so that they could get their tax return or something like that, something weird like that. And now I've learned today that they might be moving to South Carolina within the next month or so. And when I say they, I mean they and not me, which at first I thought they were talking about all of us together, but they're actually moving in with some other people for a little bit, and then the people are going to have a house built for them to move into later on, and so I'm not a part of it at all. So what that means for me is that I have to find a new living situation, which completely screws up everything, because with the whole bank issue, it's like the world tried to throw a curveball at me, and I'm still going to push forward with my usual plan, which was to pay off debts, raise my credit until I finished my online degree, and then I would move to Florida to get my film degree on campus. That was the original plan. But now, now I have to find a place to stay within a month or two, or else I will be living in my car, basically. And so kind of in a bad predicament. And this is the second time it's happened too, because the first time was when I lived in Massachusetts. Now I got this situation. So on the upside, I got a couple options to choose from for this. And I'm working on two of them, and the third one is like the last resort bit. But option one is I've sent a message to the school, sent an email to the school, asking if there's anything they can do about housing, and see if I can move on campus now, and either continue to finish my online classes, just living on campus, or even transfer my online classes to actual classes, and then finish my cinematography degree, like, with actual classes. Which, the classes part isn't that big of a deal. I'm just seeing if it's possible to do housing, especially when I have such bad credit. If that's possible, I might try to pull a risky move in which the loan that I have paid off, I might just pull all the money out and then pay off as much stuff as I can that would affect my credit. Like pay off my debt collectors, as much of my credit cards as I can, and my car payment to make sure I can keep my car. And that would be a huge boost to my credit, and then that would help out. Plan B, which I kind of like a little bit better personally, but would be temporary because I would still end up moving to Florida anyways, would be to move in with my aunt. And my aunt currently owns the house that my grandmother lived in. She says she's not sure if she's going to keep the house now that my grandmother has passed away. Not really sure if it's in the will. I don't even know what's going on with the will at all, if there is one. I'm sure there is, but I haven't heard anything about it. Basically the idea would be that I would move in with my aunt who lives in my grandparents' place, and then I would just basically find a job there and finish my online classes there, and then, you know, the next spring I would move to Florida as intended. Which I actually looked at my classes, my online classes, and it says my graduation date is November of 2021, but the list of classes that I have only take me to September of 2020, which I wonder if that's because, I'm taking a look at it again, I'm wondering if that's because the actual classes have to work around holidays and summer, whereas we don't. But yeah, my final class is September 28th, which would take me through October. So, but it says my graduation is November of 2021, which doesn't make much sense. But this is something to figure out in time. But yeah, so I've already looked up jobs in New Hampshire. It'll be kind of awkward because New Hampshire is so sparsely populated that an hour's drive to work is pretty normal. But especially where I would be, my biggest issue, my biggest worry about it all is if there's internet at my grandmother's place, because if I don't have internet, I can't do my classes. So otherwise I would have to like go somewhere and do them like at a Walmart or something, which would not be fun. So, but it would be nice to go back to New England for a little while at least. I'm not really sure which one I would prefer. Option 3 would just be to live in my car, in which I would save money on rent, which would be great. Yeah, car expenses might go up because I'll be in my car and using it a lot, especially in the summer to stay cool. Yeah, I'd be using money for like laundromats or something, but I would save money on on rent. So there's that idea. In terms of New Hampshire or Florida, I kind of like, for future's sake, moving to Florida would be better because I could just get the moving portion of it out of the way. But I feel like I would have to build my credit first, and the only way that I could do that within a month or two is to use the loan and just pay as much stuff off as I can. The downside to that is that I would have to then pay off the loan, and it was really bad as it is, you know, originally. And they increased the loan amount after I pay it off, so if I use the entire thing, then I would be paying a lot of money to fix it, which I could probably pay a huge chunk of it, you know, after I move, or, you know, a significant amount at least, not a huge chunk per se, but a significant amount. But it would still be a lot to pay off, and it would undo everything that I did. And so, I'm not sure, but again, as I'm trying to gain momentum and trying to fix everything, life tried to throw one thing at me with the whole bank issue, and when it saw that I was still going to push forward, it threw this at me. So now I got to deal with this issue. So, but let's see what else. UHC happened, and OBS was absolutely horrible. I'm still going to upload every single episode, but episodes 1, 2, and 6 are cut down. As a matter of fact, episode 6 is pretty much completely useless. It's really just that episode's more of a plug to the teammate that I find, really, which I'm glad I found a teammate that was recording for that, but like pretty much any time I was on the surface, OBS would drop frames horribly, and the game played fine. It's just the recording that was bad. But the caving parts of episodes 1 and 2 are good. Part of episode 2 is a little bit laggy, which I didn't realize that it was still lagging when I was underground, but it fixes itself after a couple minutes, and the rest of the way is good to go. Episodes 3, 4, and 5 are fine because I'm in the caves the entire time. And after episode 6, it actually gets better. So yeah, the combat that we show at the end in the final couple episodes are at least watchable. They're not as bad as everything that came before it. So yeah, in terms of UHC battles, I don't even know if I'm gonna do one, really. It depends on who records and uploads, and I definitely can't use much of my perspective, so well, we'll see. I can definitely bet on myself. Shoston Dennis will record. Mixon said he will record, and he showed up, so that's good. I think Nixer will record, but he does the highlight videos now. And then Joda might, so we'll see. But that's all for me, I guess. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching or listening to me vent. And hopefully things straighten themselves out, and I shall see you all in the next one.